Are we having a Wag the Dog moment, but the inverse, so it's Dog the Wag or something? Don't worry, we have a president too distracted by ice cream treats, chasing tail, and getting sleep. But we're pretty distracted too. Let me explain. It's a dog-eat-dog world, or Wag the Dog world, or a smoke and mirrors world. Whatever you want to claim it to be, we do not live in a healthy time and place, and it feels like we are all in a production.
And you want me to do what?
We want you to produce.
You want me to produce your war?
Not a war, it's a pageant. We need a theme, a song, some visuals. We need, it's a pageant. It's like the Oscars, that's why we came to you.
I never won an Oscar.
You don't need an Oscar to see how produced our lives are. So let's just get the question of the week out there. What kind of a production are we living in? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you'd be so kind to share this video, then we can produce more clear-minded Americans, unlike the current president who, again, didn't put together that he is president.
There's been a little change in the arrangement of who's on the stage because of the First Lady's husband contracting COVID. But look at this room and what you see. Pardon? That's right. She's fine. It's me. That's not together. The second lady, the first gentleman. How about that? Anyway.
Who's on first? What's on second? Because looking at this past week, we've had some interesting happenings and distractions from how bad we are at the moment, and the president is absent, both physically and mentally. The leader of the free world is sleeping, or that's what I presume he's been doing, because until just yesterday, where has he been the past week? Maybe he was prepping for World Sleep Day, because it does happen at the end of this week. Which does make sense. After getting all jacked up with whatever his handlers gave him to get him through the State of the Union, he probably crashed pretty hard. So as a nation, we are left with his deputy dog out there on his behalf. Which brings us to... Where in the world is Kama-Lama-Lama Ding Dong? Ah yes, Ding Dong is out there doing her business. She traveled to Poland and spoke at a joint press conference in Warsaw with the Polish president regarding the Ukrainian refugee situation and whether the U.S. would take in an allocated amount. Of course, she did what she always does.
Okay. A friend in need is a friend indeed.
Okay, I can first. Okay, so this time. Szanowna pani redaktor.
Because of her insensitivities toward everyone and everything, the White House quickly tried to pivot away and then do what it always does, of course aided by the mainstream media defenders.
Change the story, change the lead. It's not a new concept. Like people we touched on, we'll talk more about it.
We can't afford a war.
We're not going to have a war. We're going to have the appearance of a war.
The diverted attention of most Americans made it even easier for members of Congress this week to bow down to their money lords and pass a $1.5 trillion omnibus spending bill that includes 12 spending bills and will fund the country all the way through September. It adds even more money to the discretionary spending for domestic agencies and the Defense Department, because numbers are just numbers when you read them on a piece of paper. For those of you not paying attention, this is the way a so-called budget is passed these days. And it is always released in the middle of the night, 1:30 a.m. to be exact, when Nancy Pelosi is up for her midnight ice cream binge. H.R. 2471 was released when everyone was sleeping, and then promptly passed the House by a vote of 260 to 171, and then sailed on through the Senate, where they got on board with a 68 to 31 vote. Because it doesn't matter what party they belong, they will spend your money. It's totes cool that the bill was 2,741 pages long, and it was voted on and passed less than 2 days after being released. Because the elderly so-called representatives of you and I can read about 1,400 pages per day in between watching Matlock and Perry Mason. I know I can, but not really. Hey, the truth is, when you're talking about other people's hard-earned money, then you don't need to read any part of any bill. Just vote for all the money that doesn't actually exist. It's just a number on a page. Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky displayed the only common sense and pushback on the insanity of adding to the national debt and to how bills should be passed. He again called for his Read the Bills resolution, which would make it so bills must actually have some time to be read. If enacted, this omnibus bill would have taken 137 days before a vote hits the floor. It's almost as if it makes sense.
We had a war, we forgot the hero. You can't have a war and not have a hero. It's like we sent him the Christmas card and we left out the, what do you call it?
Fruitcake.
There you go. All right, let's work.
Moving away from the hero, there's been plenty of the fruitcake this past week. It's been more weird than usual, which is saying a whole lot. Most notably was the distraction of the hero of all heroes for those on the far left who refuse to see reality. Let's talk about the sentencing in the Jussie Smollett case. There's some news about Jussie Smollett's assailant from the hate crime against him and his Subway sandwich in January of 2019. You remember the entire incident that helped rage Black Lives Matter and claims racism all over the country because the assailants who beat up Smollett were wearing MAGA hats and said, "This is MAGA country," at 3 a.m. during a blizzard in Chicago. Oh, and don't forget how this immediately sparked Joe and Kamala to show solidarity, because what happened to Jussie must never be tolerated. There should be no safe harbor for such hate. Jussie, after all, is one of the kindest, most gentle human beings. It was an attempted modern-day lynching, and we must confront this hate. Finally, that hate was confronted, and the assailant was sentenced to 150 days in jail. After more than 3 years, that assailant finally looked Jussie Smollett in the face by looking in the mirror.
It's all well and good, but when the fit hits the shan, somebody's going to have to stay after school. Who do you suppose that might be?
I don't know what you're talking about.
And so says Jussie. Immediately after his sentencing, Smallette vocalized his thoughts about having to go to jail for the felonies he committed.
No, I would just like to say to Your Honor that I am not suicidal. That's what I would like to say.
Okay.
I am not suicidal.
Okay.
I am not suicidal. I am innocent, and I am not suicidal. If I did this, then it means that I stuck my fist in the fears of Black Americans in this country for over 400 years and the fears of the LGBTQ community. Your Honor, I respect you and I respect the jury, but I did not do this, and I am not suicidal. And if anything happens to me when I go in there, I did not do it to myself, and you must all know that. I respect you, Your Honor. I respect your decision. Jail time. I am not suicidal.
Okay.
Has anyone found a connection between Smallette and the Clintons? Asking for a friend. Since we're in Chicago, we might as well talk about the best mayor of all the cities in all the land, Mayor Lori Lightfoot. We know now that she also has the biggest male genitalia in all the land. Just ask her. "My is bigger than yours," she allegedly said while berating city officials. This was after Lightfoot stopped a deal between the Chicago Park District and an Italian-American group, a deal which would have made it so a statue of Christopher Columbus would be exhibited during a parade. I can't make up this level of stupidity. A lawsuit was then filed against Lightfoot and Chicago for defamation after she also claimed she has the biggest Italian sausage in Chicago. And that reminds me that she allegedly said her male appendage was also bigger than all of the Italians. None of that is true, of course, but it is politics.
Please don't be disconsolate. This is politics at its finest. This is where the rubber meets the road. And I'm here to tell you, we've got a leader going out tonight to 95 million American homes. He's going to turn this thing around.
Disconsolate. Look it up. The movie Wag the Dog turns 25 years old this year, and yet its stupidity is not all that different from today. We get distracted so easily, and everything outside of our homes seems like a production. Remember to keep focus on the F's you give within your home, your faith, your family, and your friends. And if you would be so kind to share this production with the world, that'd make me the opposite of disconsolate. Until next time, let's go Brandon, and stay healthy, America.